Today we're going to do a sort of chaos mock draft, as we have a mystery wheel here, and this will pretty much determine what we do with each pick. So there's what I do, so my personal choice, what I think they do, offense, defense, best available according to the website, trade back. Well, with the best available, have some logic behind it, and then same position but different player. So if I think this team takes, I think this team takes this player, whatever their position is. I just take a different player at that position. So that will determine all 32 of our picks. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like, subscribe, and let's get into the first spin for the first pick of the Tennessee Titans. First pick we get is what I think they do. And I mean, if you look at the odds, it's clearly Cam Ward. We all know they're going to take Cam Ward. So I think they would take Cam Ward, number 1 overall. Next is the Browns at 2. Best available. Well, according to the website, the best available is Travis Hunter. And not only that, but it makes sense that they'd go Travis Hunter, especially because we think they do that in real life. So far, pretty easy for the first 2 picks. Giants are next at 3. And we're going to get same position but different player. So they'd probably go Abdul Carter in this situation. So we're going to have them go with Jalen Walker at 3 because they got to go edge with Abdul Carter. I think they'd go edge here at Abdul Carter, which means we got to give them a different edge rusher. So we'll give them Jalen Walker to the Giants at 3. All right, Patriots are next at 4. That was our first real difference there. And the Patriots also got same position, different player. Now, in real life, I think they're going to go with Will Campbell or Membo. But based on how the board's fallen with Abdul Carter on the board, they could go Abdul Carter. But I think they would still go O-line. And I think they're going to go Will Campbell. So I'm going to give them Armand Membo out of Missouri. Because, excuse me, I think they would go tackle. So I think to do the same position, different player, we give them Membo. Jags are next at 5. We're going to go best available. Now, the best available is is Abdul Carter. And they probably wouldn't go edge because of Trayvon Walker and Josh Hines Allen. So I'm going to go the next best available, which makes sense. And that's Mason Graham at 5 because they're just not going to go Abdul Carter, I don't think. So best available would be Mason Graham for them, I think. Next is the Raiders at 6. And we got what I do. So if I were the Raiders, I'm taking Abdul Carter here. I know it seems like they might be in line for Genty, but I would go Abdul Carter based on the board. Pair him with Max Crosby. That would be a disgusting pass rush duo. So I would go Abdul Carter. I think that's what they would as well. Jets are next at 7. Let's see. It's another what I'd do. So if I were the Jets, what would I do? I wouldn't go QB. I know you got Justin Fields, and it's only a 2-year deal, but I wouldn't go quarterback if I were the Jets. You got a guy like Tyler Warren. You got a guy like McMillan. You can go O-line with Will Campbell. But I think you help out your quarterback, whether it's Justin Fields for the foreseeable future or whatever. So I think you go with, I guess O-line helps your quarterback out too. But if I were the Jets, I would seriously consider probably going McMillan here. Because it's just Garrett Wilson. That's all you have. And you don't necessarily need Genty because you got Breece Hall and even Braylon Allen. So I'm going McMillan. If I were the Jets, I'd go Tedoroy McMillan to get that really good receiver next to Garrett Wilson. Panthers are up at 8. And they're going to go best available, which is, in this case, is Shedeur, but they're not taking Shedeur. They're not taking a lineman. So I guess the best available is probably Genty. Pair him and Chuba Hubbard next to each other? Why not? Ashton Genty, welcome to the Panthers at 8. Saints are next at 9. Let's see. Saints are going defense. So you can't go Shedeur. You can't go Will Campbell. You can't go Tyler Warren. It's probably Mykel Williams or one of the corners. I think they need edge a little more than corner. So I'm going to go Michael or Shamar or Mike Green, to be honest. But I'll go Michael Williams out of Georgia at 9 for the Saints defense pick. Bears are next up at 10. And they're going to go what I think they do. I think this is a pretty easy pick for no Gentys on the board, so you're not going to go Genty. You could go one of the pass rushers with Shamar or Mike Green, or you can just grab Will Campbell. But he might be a guard, potentially, tackle. We don't necessarily know. But I think you just go Will Campbell here at 10. They spent big money on the interior of the O-line. Why not get a really good tackle? I'll go Will Campbell. I think that's what they would go with. Niners are next. I wouldn't personally go Will Campbell, but I think they would. Niners at 11, defense. I think that's perfect. I think they're going defense. And I think you go edge here. I think you go Shamar and Mike Green. Or James Pierce as well. I'll go Mike Green to the Niners at 11 out of Marshall. I know there's the off-field issues, but I think just the player itself is really good. Cowboys at 12, trade back. Okay. So, let's see. Now, the trades aren't going to, compensation-wise, I'm not going to care about what they get in return because it's only a one-round mock draft. So, we're just going to figure out who makes sense to jump these teams. Because I'm trying to think what these teams would take. The Falcons would go pass rusher probably. The Colts could look into maybe grabbing, a Tyler Warren. We could just... Because I would think, maybe a team to trade up and get Shedeur. Because Shedor's still on the board. But the Dolphins, Colts, Falcons... None of these teams are going to take a quarterback. Pittsburgh can probably luck into getting Shedeur. So is there any team that wants to trade up to jump the Steelers? Would the Rams want to trade up and get Shedeur before the Steelers do? Probably not. Do we just go with the team to jump because the Colts could be interested in Tyler Warren. So maybe a team trades up for Tyler Warren. A team like the Bengals, not really the Bengals probably. Maybe the Broncos trade up for Tyler Warren. Or we go pass rusher. I'm going to actually go with the Bengals here, trading up to jump the Falcons for a pass rusher. So let's go Bengals and Cowboys. Because the Falcons are probably going to get Shamar Stewart in this case, but not if the Bengals trade up. So again, since there's only one round and none of these trades affect the mock draft, I'm just going to make the trade work according to the website. So if we give them a second, it doesn't work. There we go. They swap seconds and thirds, but mainly Bengals trade up 5 spots, and they put themselves in perfect position to draft Shamar Stewart ahead of a team like the Falcons and even maybe the Cardinals, but I doubt they go pass rusher. Next is Miami at 13. Let's see. Same position, but different player. So I think the Dolphins are between, in this case, Kelvin Banks or one of the safeties. Because they don't really need Tyler Warren. They could go with the corner too. I forgot. The corners are still on the board. Who would they... I honestly think they'd go Kelvin Banks here, given how the board's fallen. So Josh Simmons, welcome to the Dolphins. Can't take Kelvin Banks, have to take a different offensive tackle. And we'll go with Josh Simmons. Colts are next at 14. And we have best available. I think that works perfectly because I think the best available is Tyler Warren. They need Tyler Warren. I think they could get him in real life. I think that's a pretty easy pick, to be honest. The Colts at 14. I know he's not the best available on the website, but I'd still take Tyler Warren over Shedeur in general, and I think they wouldn't even look at quarterback. So I think best available would be Tyler Warren. Falcons are next at 15, and they're going same position but different player. Now, they did lose out on the premier pass rusher in Shamar Stewart because the Bengals traded up. However, I still think they'd go with edge rusher. I think they'd go James Pierce here. So Donovan Ezeraku is probably the pick. Him or Nick Scorton, but Ezeraku I think is slightly better. So Donovan Ezeraku, will have him go to the Falcons at 15 because they can't take James Pierce. Cardinals are next at 16. and they're going to go offense, and I think this is perfect for them. You got to go Kelvin Banks. They need help on the O-line. It's their biggest offensive need. It says they need tight end, but I wouldn't think they'd go Colston Loveland here. So Kelvin Banks, I think, easy pick to the Cardinals at 16 if they have to go offense. I think they'd take him anyway. Cowboys are next at 17 after trading back with the Bengals, and they're going to go offense. So they could either go with, they could go Shador, to be honest. They could go with a Colston Loveland, but I think you go one of the receivers because they're still all available. Which one do you think is the best? I think it's a coin toss, to be honest, between all three of them. I'll keep them in state. Give me Matthew Golden to the Cowboys at 17. Seahawks are next at 18, and we have offense as well for Seattle. Offense is interesting because, well, actually not really, because Gray Zabble's right here. Because they need interior and tackle. He's probably going to play interior in the NFL, but he also has experience at tackle. They could go tight end as well with a Colston Loveland. They could go Shador. Honestly, they could. Because Sam Darnold, they paid Sam Darnold a lot, though, so I think they try to help Sam Darnold out and put him in the best position, so I think they'd go Gray Zabble here at 18. Bucks are next up at 19. And we're going defense. Perfect. They have to go defense, I think. And I think it's between Jahad Campbell and the corners. I've always had him go Jahad Campbell or like someone like that because normally the corners are off the board. But they're still here. I don't see how you can pass up on Jedi Barron. So I'm going to give the Bucks Jedi Barron out of Texas at 19. It's between him and Will Johnson if you go corner. Or you could go with a guy like Jahad Campbell. But I'm going to go Jedi Barron because he shouldn't be here at 19. So I think to get him at 19 is great for the Bucks. Broncos are next at 20. And they have to trade back. Okay. It's got to be with a quarterback team, right? A team trying to jump Pittsburgh. I have an idea. I'm going to have the Broncos, I think, trade up. I can't. I wanted the Browns to trade up to the Broncos spot. Or wait, no, I wasn't on the Broncos. I was on... Is this going to work? It can. Okay, I'm going to have Cleveland trade up with Denver. Denver does trade out of the first round here, but I think in this case that Denver has to trade back. It's got to be a team to jump Pittsburgh for Shador, right? Chargers aren't going to do it. Packers, Vikings, Rams maybe, but that's pretty much it. It's a chaotic direct mock draft for a reason. I'm going to have the Browns trade back into the first for Denver's 20th pick, and they'll give them their second and third. Trade. Wait, hold on. This is not going to work because I'm not doing a... This might not work. I'm not sure. Okay, that might not work. You know what? I'll have the Rams do it then. I don't know if this is the website or me. Let me give it one more try. Denver to Cleveland. Okay, I don't think it works because I'm only doing a one-round mock draft. So you know what? Instead, I'll have the Rams trade up and get their Stafford replacement and go with Mr. Shador Sanders out of Colorado. I wanted Cleveland to do it, but I think if the Broncos trade back in that spot, it's to a team to jump Pittsburgh. And the only team in the first that makes sense is the Rams. So, Shador, you now get to learn under Stafford. That's not a bad guy to learn behind, that's for sure, in Matthew Stafford. Pittsburgh next at 21. They lost their quarterback possibility. And now it's same position, but different player. So you're not going to go QB here. You could go Will Johnson at corner. You're probably not going to go Josh Connerly. Maybe you go with a Will Johnson. Or do you go the safety route? I think they go the safety route. I think that's what they do in this situation. Is go the safety route and go Starks or Emanwari. And I think they'd go Emanwari, which means we have to take a different safety. So Malachi Starks, welcome to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Because they very well could trade Minkah, so especially if they go safety. I think I've seen that. I think I've read stuff that Minkah doesn't have any trade value, but I think they'd end up trading him if they go safety. And that's very possible for them to take one of the two safeties. Chargers at 22. Got about 10, 11 picks left. Defense for the Chargers. That's not where I want them to go, unfortunately. However, they did lose Christian Fulton. Sante Samuel left them in free agency. Why not get a Michigan guy? I mean, you got 3 of them on the board with Will Johnson, Loveland, and Kenneth Grant. So it's pretty much between, do they go Kenneth Grant, or you could go Walter Nolan or Harmon. But I think you go Will Johnson. I think do you need corner? I mean, I think they need corner. So I'll go Will Johnson to the Chargers at 22. Packers are next. I really would have loved offense for them, but Packers next at 23. They have to go defense as well. They would have been perfect for Will Johnson. Do you go with... This is a tough choice because I don't think they need Jihad. I don't think they need D lineman. Do you go with a pass rusher? Do you go James Pierce? Do you go Nick Emanwari? Or do you go Kenneth Grant? Or even a guy like Walter Nolan and Derek Harmon. Because they can't go any of the receivers. I mean, the number one needs corner, but do you go Maxwell Hairston or Trey Amos at 23? I mean, maybe. But I don't think you do that when you have guys like Jihad and Grant and Emanwari available. I think they go Nick Emanwari and pair him next to Xavier McKinney. Xavier McKinney was in a very good signing for them last year, so why not add to it and bring in Emanwari alongside him? Vikings are next at 24. What I think they'd do. I would love them to get a safety here, but I think they'd go Amarian Hampton or one of the 3 D linemen. And I don't know, I'm not too familiar with which one's better between Grant, Harmon, and Walter Nolan, but they did sign some D linemen, so I think they stay away from that, actually. I think it's between Jihad or Hampton here. And I don't see how you pass up on a guy like Jihad Campbell at 24. So I'm gonna give Vikings Jihad Campbell. He normally falls before then, so I think it's great value for them to get a guy like Campbell at 24. Texans next at 25. Same position but different player. Now, who would the Texans go here? Because they wouldn't go tackle. They could go edge, but I think they go offense. I think they go receiver. And now if that is the case, it's perfect for them because if you go Egbuka, you could just go Burden or vice versa. Because I don't think they go tight end. The O-lineman interior-wise, I mean, you could go Tyler Booker. But I think they go receiver here. I think they would go with Luther Burden. So I'm going to have them go Emeka Egbuka out of Ohio State. Broncos at 26 after trading back with the Rams. Almost had another trade back, but it's same position, different player. This is interesting because I could see them going Colston Loveland, but then they end up with Mason Taylor. I could see them going Amarian Hampton, but then they're going to end up with a Travion Henderson or a Quinshon Judkins. But I have to determine who they'd pick, and I think they'd take Colston Loveland here, which means Mason Taylor is headed to the Broncos at pick 26, which does not make sense, but that's the point of this mock draft. It's not supposed to make sense. The Rams aren't supposed to trade up for Shador either, so I actually love it, how unrealistic this is. Ravens are next at 27, and we're going to get what I'd do. So if I were the Ravens, what would I do? I mean, you could honestly go with a guy like Colston Loveland. I think they'd lean towards the edge rusher and go with James Pierce, possibly, because the safeties are off the board. I mean, you could go with Luther Burden is right there. Luther Burden, Zay Flowers, Rashad Bateman's not that bad of a receiver trio. And their defense actually wasn't that bad last year. I would go with Luther Burden if I were the Ravens. I think they might lean towards the edge rusher, but if this is my pick, I'm giving Luther Burden to the Ravens and creating a very good receiver trio with him, Flowers, and Bateman. Lions are next at 28. Offense. Okay, this is interesting because they don't really need help on offense. Their biggest offensive need is quarterback, but we're not going to go quarterback. It's got to be Colston Loveland here, right? Because you're not going to take Jaden Higgins at 28. I mean, you could go Hampton too, but they're completely set at halfback. I think it's Colston Loveland. He's the best offensive player on the board, clearly. They don't need many things on offense, but they have to pick offense. The wheel told us to. Give me Colston Loveland to the Lions at pick 28. Commanders are next at 29. And we have what I think they'd do. What would the Commanders do? They don't need Kenneth Grant. They got their D lineman. I think it's Hampton here because they don't need Harmon or Nolan either. It's between Booker, Pierce, or Hampton. I think they go Amari and Hampton if this is how the board were to fall. Get that guy in the backfield with Jayden Daniels. You still got Brian Robinson, still got the veteran that is Austin Eckler. Bring in some youth, a rookie running back, Amari and Hampton. Bills are next at 30. They'd love one of these 3 D tackles still on the board, but they have to go offense. So they don't get to choose. And this is interesting. Because the best offensive player, according to this, is Jackson Dart. Obviously, they're not going quarterback. Do you just go O-line? Because you're not going to go Travion Henderson, right? You're probably not going to go Jaden Higgins. I think you just go O-line here. And do you just go Tyler Booker, the best lineman on the board? Probably, right? Yeah, I think so. You just got to go best offensive lineman. And I think that's Tyler Booker at 30. Chiefs are next at 31. 2 more picks. And they're going offense, which is perfect for them because they need help on that O-line. You're not going to go with Donovan Jackson. I think the next best tackle is clearly Josh Connerly. You could have got Colston Loveland if he was on the board. But I think if they have to go offense, they have to go tackle. Josh Connerly, I think, makes perfect sense to the Chiefs at 31. And lastly, but not least, is the Eagles at 32. And we're going best available player. That's probably what the Eagles should do anyway because of how good their team is. I think the best available player is one of the D tackles, especially because they lost Milton Williams. Which D tackle is the best? Again, I'm not 100% sure, but I'm just going to go Kenneth Grant here from Michigan. He's one of the better D tackles. You can't argue with that. It's him or Nolan probably. I'll go Kenneth Grant. And that concludes our random wheel mock draft. We'll do a quick recap of all the picks. Titans at 1 took Cam Ward. This is going to take a little bit. Actually, no, I think I can. The Browns at 2 went Travis Hunter. The Giants at 3 went Jalen Walker. Patriots at 4 went Armand Membo. The Jags at 5 got Mason Graham. The Raiders at 6 went Abdul Carter. The Jets at 7 went Tedoroya McMillan. The Panthers at 8 went Ashton Jeanty. The Saints at 9 went with Michael Williams. I'll just do the top 10. And then the Bengals at 12 went Shamar Stewart. And the Bears went Will Campbell at 10. Here's a quick rundown of the whole draft. I'll zoom out so you can see a little bit more of the picks. The 2 trades we made, the Bengals traded up with Dallas. and the Rams traded up with Denver. But quick recap here of our chaotic first round mock draft. None of this makes sense, but that's the whole point. Well, some of it makes sense. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like. If you're new, hit the subscribe button. We're getting super close to the NFL draft. It's like 13, 14 days away as I'm recording this video. And I'll see you guys next time. Peace.